Good evening, everyone. This is Pradeep Mall, Ambassador of Change, GETI, the Global Education and Training Institute, and you're on our disruptive education program. It has been provided to us by our mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi, and this is where we have met more than 800 educators from India and all over the world. And today we have with us Hina Mudgal ma'am. She's the HOD Biology of Allenhouse Public School of Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. She is a BSc in Zoology and Chemistry, an MSc Gold medalist in Entomology. She's a B.Ed and has more than 30 CBSE training workshops under her belt. She has 21 years of total experience, a PGT HOD Biology Allenhouse since 2014. And before that, she was a lecturer with PPN in college and worked in beverages, food and beverages before that. She is currently active with research in prevention and control of mosquito-borne diseases, working in science, in the science expert panel for Superhouse Education Foundation, also works upon teacher training and quality of education. So she has a very vast field where she's very actively involved. She's been awarded for innovative and creative science teaching by the Center of Education Development, New Delhi, 2018. Okay. She's also member and a body of the International Indo-Sri Lanka Science Summit, organized by the Center of Education Development, Chennai. She has many such achievements. She's also awarded the D.D. Kosambi Award for Teacher Mentor by the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education and Tata Institute for Research Science, Mumbai, 2018. And she has received the Anil Sadogopal Award 2020 for popularization of science and contribution to science outreach by Homi Bhabha Center again for Science Education and Tata Institute for Science Research, Mumbai. Now, I'm handing you over now to Dr. Hina Mudgal, and thank you, ma'am, and all the very best.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to all. A very good morning to all my listeners. Good evening to all my listeners. Today I'll be speaking on the research application in teaching. How is research application important for teachers, for mentors, and why do we need to add on to the research before going into our classes, before starting with our teaching? It helps a teacher find solution to problems arising in the classroom and school. It also helps a teacher to underpin professional learning of knowledge and skills and understanding. Uh, the benefits of research in teaching connects us with the sources of information and the network of professional support. It clarifies the purposes and processes and the priorities when introducing changes. It helps to understand the professional context and locally and nationally also for a teacher. For example, if a teacher is taking up a topic and she is doing an intense research before conducting her class, her conduction of class will have an air effect on her presentation, on her the skills which she is going to invoke from the children, and her presentation of the class will be very different because the research presentation in a teacher adds on to the deliverance of the content. When we are talking of improving the understanding of professional context, locally as well as nationally, when a teacher is researching a topic which she is going to teach, she is referring to the research papers, she is referring to the national and the international written content, and the content which is going to the students is of a very, very excellent and a superior level. When we are talking of the instructional strategies which a research-based teaching needs to have, we have to set objectives. Setting and learning objectives that are specific but not restrictive. We have to provide the feedback to make students understand when they're doing a project, what was correct, what was incorrect, and make clear what the student needs to do next. When we are reinforcing the effort and teaching the student that the success is within their control because it comes as a result of their effort and not because of the people saying that, okay, you were lucky, so you got it. You were lucky, you could make it. No, we develop the metacognition in our students when we are introducing research methodologies in teaching as well as giving research projects to our students. We provide recognitions, promote a mastery goal orientation, provide praise that is specific and aligned with the expected performance and behavior. The very, very important element of research-based teaching is cooperative learning. Learning atmosphere is more favorable when students, they are collaborating with each other, they are working as a team, they are interacting with one another. Whenever, as a mentor, I have taken up projects or I have delivered my content as a research work to my students, we would design teams, we would give teams to the students. And our, because we happen to work in a group of schools where we had many schools working in collaboration with each other, our team used to be from 4 different schools. The collaborative learning of research methodology helps team quality development. It helps the soft skill development in the students, as well as the teacher who's guiding is developing a guided mentor in her team, the team which is assigned a project. This team is having a leader who is going to guide others, assign work to all the rest of the team members, and conduct the research based project. During the time of Corona, during the time of COVID, when the students are shunning away from the textbook, they don't want to read, they don't want to refer to the textbook, they don't want to search anything new, they just want to study online and give an online exam. Research methodology induction during the teaching, giving projects to them so that if they're wanting to spend time on the system, they're wanting to spend time on the computer, they find and search something new on their topic. They are still learning, they are still growing. So the collaborative learning, that is developing teams where strangers start working together, develop the social behavior of interaction, of communication. It develops a positive interdependence and helps to promote face-to-face promotive interaction. Because now we are not able to interact with our students one-to-one. The mode of teaching is more on the camera. When we are giving them a project, we are assigning them a project where they are supposed to search for something and present. As a team, they are supposed to connect with the team members. They learn individual reporting as well as they learn the group reporting. We have to ensure that we develop the metacognition in our students, knowing what is known, knowing ourselves, thinking what we are thinking, knowing ourselves and developing from what we know we have received from inside. So the collaborative learning by the research methodology, both for the teacher and for the students, help in interpersonal and small group skill development. It is a very, very nice way of group processing, intellectual building, enhancing the critical thinking. I'll just take an example. Like if a teacher is teaching in two sections, she's taking classes in two sections of science. One section can be assigned a control group, and the other section can be assigned an experimental group. We may take simple concepts to explain our children through projects, through research work, to make project files. They may make manuals, they may collect data. We give them 6 months time, 2 months time, 1 month time, or a week's time. The learning of a definition of temperature or humidity from a textbook, it makes the work of a teacher easy. You're trying to explain the definition of the temperature. You're trying to explain the definition of humidity. You're trying to tell about life cycle of a housefly or a mosquito. But when the child starts observing the stages of life cycle in his or her project work, in a team work, where the children may be from one part of Kanpur, some child may be from Lucknow, or they may be four students from four schools, and they start exchanging views. The learning of the definition of life cycle, the learning of the definition of what is a larvae, what is a pupae, how does it look like, the practical and the critical development of the child and the student increases. The student who has done a research work of data collection on any topic. I'm just taking a science as an example because in science we normally have projects which are to do with the life cycles and identification features. So there is one way you give them the textbook and you ask them to please learn all the characteristics, and the other way to tell them to go and search to this host plant the type of larvae which are feeding on these leaves, make a list of the plant as well as the kind of flies in the house on the butterflies or the larvae which feed on this plant. When the child starts to observe, the child learns by doing, and the research aptitude gives questions in the mind of the learner as well as the teacher. You get new results. It's not necessary. We are facing a big problem in our classroom with extremes of students. There are 10 students who are extremely intelligent, very strong in their subjective answering, very good in their written presentation. They do all the work on time. And there are students who are very, very distracted. The education system needs to be such that we bring all our 30 students at a level and they all evolve and learn through the vocational and non-subjective way of learning. The research work gives a platform to all the students to come to a level and learn and deliver and give and find out their result. It is not necessary that each a topper may come up with good data collection. It is not necessary. So using clues, giving questions when you are collecting your data from your students, giving previews, what is to be learned. Perhaps you may use pictures. You may guide the students with some pre-notions, some pre-research scripts which we have already, we use references. Even with a presentation, we have a reference. We can use a reference of a research paper. So by explaining the outcome of the lesson that, okay, this is context to curriculum. This research work which you are doing, this research topic which you are studying is on this topic. Like there is a chapter of why do we fall in class 9. And this time I happened to give a research project to my students on corona, on data collection and variation of corona spread in different parts of Uttar Pradesh. So when they are now, because it is pandemic, children are studying from home. They are mostly with the cameras, mobile phone, and the project laptops, and everything has to be done on the system. The project assigned to the students were data collection of coronavirus from date 1st April to 15th April. Now the child can consult the news online also, and some children are collecting data and sharing pictures from the newspaper also. So if we are providing a list of guided questions, how to go about a research, the what all is the child learning? What is a virus? What type of virus is this pandemic? Why is it different from the normal flu? Why is it a pandemic? Why is it not a normal acute flu? Why it is a pandemic? So we are treating all these difficult terms which the textbook presents as definitions and terms, and we entrust upon our students to sit and learn it all up. They learn by doing. They learn by finding, by searching. We all evolve by exchanging the views, the guidelines of the teacher who has already done a research on the topic is going to guide her students to come up with excellent learning outcomes of the subject. So from the teacher's point of view, continuous previews and questions should be given at the end of the lesson. Even if you have given a project, you've given a data collection project, you should ensure that there is a feedback session. We are listening to what they are doing weekly. We are listening to what they have learned by their project work, where they are going wrong. So, providing a list of guided questions, they should be able to answer at the end of the lesson after the project. So, when the project is completed, what all learning outcome has your project been able to deliver and train our students? What have they learned from it? Normally, we take a textbook, we explain a concept, we take up the board, we draw a diagram, and then students may come up with answers. But I believe that research-based teaching and methodology adds on to innovation, creativity, and the creative part of a child who may not be very good in subject, who may not be very good in writing presentation, may come up with different flying colors. We may have excellent results with students who are mediocre, who are not very strong in written presentations. They may come up with excellent the data inputs. They may share very, very good life skill experiences, and they learn by doing themselves. It's time that we make our students self-managers and self-mentors. It's time that we train them to learn to realize what they know and how they have to improve what they know. It's time that we have to train them to learn to question themselves. If they have done a set of tasks assigned by the curricula, by the subject teacher, have they been able to achieve the goal? Have they been able to communicate with their team members? Have they evolved as good leaders? If not, where do they need to evolve and where do they need to work upon? With this, the non-linguistic representation, a very important part of research-based teaching. The non-linguistic representation talks about the imaginary mode of representation. It is to express using images, sound, touch, movement. When a teacher is helping her students go out in the ground and practice certain, I was just watching a very nice demonstration of competency-based teaching. And there I saw that the teacher had developed a dance sequence to explain the maths shape. And then there was there was another explanation and presentation and demonstration which I really appreciated. That the children were doing claps and learning the nouns. So non-linguistic representation, it has been seen by the long-term, the researchers, that if you look at a picture, If you look at a figure, if you look at a diagram, the brain receives that much more than just listening to a person. Because we are using all our senses. We are using our eyes, our ears, we are seeing, and the brain is restoring. We are actually taking the photograph of the diagram or the picture. Not only that, the expression should be with images. It can be vocal. You can make songs like I have happened to develop a DNA song, a cell song, and songs which children make. The students are given projects to write songs, to sing, write poetries on scientific terms, and touch and movement. That is, you take the children out in the ground and plan a game or a physical activity which helps them understand a phenomena. Different types of leaves can be taught with the textbook. Different types of leaves can be taught by a field trip. Because this is COVID time, I take field trip through my screen. I take the picture, I go to my own balcony garden and I take a picture and I happen to share the different shapes of a leaf. My motive is to tell them that leaves are not of the same shape. They may be simple or compound. They consist of cores and stomata. So I am doing practical life skill demonstration. Let's make our homes into home labs. Let's motivate simple teaching back home now. So, non-linguistic representation is more about an imaginary mode of representation which expresses using images, sound, touch, movement. It is creating graphic organizers such as, concept map. You can make story map. You can make a story that write the names of the two characters. What are the characteristics? What were the features of the two characters? And how these two characters made the complete end of the story and the summary of the story. You can make story maps. You can make scientific, you can make biological maps. I am very, very passionate about flow diagrams and knowledge maps. Knowledge maps are maps which are having terms of what all a chapter has important terms, what all terms this chapter is going to teach them, and how can we connect it with the other preceding knowledge which they already had. So, making project models is another way which we've often done. And during Corona, I think making project models and manipulative, you know, projects given to the children, like they can sing a song and record a song and share. They can make a choir song and share on a topic. So creating mental pictures and illustrations are also very, very important. Engaging students in kinesthetic activities such as games, and you just ask them that why don't you go and do this exercise when you're teaching respiration. So when you're teaching respiration, we take an example of anulom vilom and we've taken inhalation, exhalation. So when we are inhaling, we are taking in oxygen. And when we are exhaling, we are doing life skill representation and practical research which the child is experiencing while we are teaching. We can ask the child to jump and exercise and do a physical exercise for 5 minutes and touch the pulse and find out what is the rate change from the normal pulse rate. So kinesthetic activities, physical activities, normally when the school is open, we have in the entire classroom going on the ground, and then we have some games which are we are connecting to the curriculum nowadays. Uh, the key strategies is giving investigative topics and then questions as a part of research topics, creating abstracts, hypothesizing the topics which the child is already working upon, guiding them how to make small abstracts. And then the hypothesis should be cross-questioned by the teachers and the team which is working upon. The providing similarities and dissimilarities, that is metaphors, is also a very important key for research-based teaching. The motive of research-based teaching is that it means that the student carry out research in their courses independently and with an open outcome. We don't tell them this is going to be the result. They have to find out the result. It is not necessary that they cheat from each other. They check on the other person's team results. No. The demand of the 21st century is problem solving, and the education system should encourage the research based teaching to enhance the problem flexibly, the problem solving in children, thinking critically, creatively using knowledge, skills in the new situation, and collaboration and communication skills and technology literacy. So, with this, I thank you all for being my patient listeners. Thank you, and a very good evening to all. If there are any questions, please.
Thank you, Hina ma'am,
Yes, sir.
for that excellent work which you have outlined. Uh, how practical is all this, ma'am, when you have to have a syllabus in mind, especially in the senior classes?
Yes, sir. Actually, I have been motivating home labs. I'm already working with it. That is, the children are made to do experiments back home, and they don't have to buy anything. It's very simple things which are readily available. And with the
Mhm.
curriculum, like I am a senior order, I'm teaching 11, 12. So I ensure that the practical experiences are being done back home itself. Like I just give an example of leaf, different types of leaf. They can easily share. It's not necessary everybody has a garden, sir. But in a class of 30, I think two of them may have a garden, and they may give us a screen share or a video of the different types of leaves, and we share the experience that way. So it's
Mhm.
just that we connect to the curriculum. We are not going away from it. Whatever we are doing, like the exhalation experiment of carbon dioxide, which is of class 10, we don't need a lab for that. The
True.
CaCO3 solution can easily be demonstrated by the students back home only with a straw. So
Ma'am,
that is my motivation to all my students.
yeah. Ma'am, I'm a lepidopterist.
Okay.
What bothers me today, worries me, is that very few people even know the names of the butterflies or moths uh, mm, uh, coming out of our exalted schools. Uh, and even forget that. Even ornithology, even the species of birds, etc., is not known to these people. Uh,
Yes.
Now, maybe in the senior classes it's a little difficult, but in the junior classes, I think one way of getting them hooked onto things like biology or botany would be to make sure that they understand and know the names. You know, get
Yeah.
bitten by the
Nomenclature.
bug, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. So
so,
it's very important that the taxonomy part, the classification part should come back in a simple way,
so.
sir. Yeah.
But how
So,
are you going to do it? Because nobody seems to bother
yes.
about it.
So I'll just share my methodology, which I am doing in my school because I ask children to take photographs and pictures of the birds if they see around in their houses or nearby locality.
Mhm.
It can be even a crow picture being shared to me. And when they are sharing the picture, because this is online nowadays, they can explore a lot. So they share pictures of birds. And when they are sharing pictures of birds, there is a chapter diversity in living organism in class 9. So we try to find out which group does it belong to. And then we try to find out the name. Otherwise, they would have never searched the name, sir. They would have never
Mm.
searched the name. So it's very simple. By sharing the pictures, then we give them, okay, this group is going to find out the name, and Google lens it, and then they tell us the name. Okay, ma'am, this is the name. And one day there was a child who shared a photograph of frog. I said, ma'am, what is the scientific name? So I said, please Google lens it. And when the name came as Bufo Bufo, he was very excited. Oh God, I have found out Bufo Bufo. So we have to create the thrill and excitement. It's becoming very textbook. Science is being restricted to textbook. I think that is
Yeah.
why students are losing interest in it. Even so with mango trees, I asked them to take pictures of mango trees and share. And then we try to find out whether it is flowering or it is non-flowering. Very simple experiments we do, sir. And I'm practically doing.
Uh, Good, excellent. Good work, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, sir.
uh, this is Global Education and Training Institute. We are committed to transforming education by transforming teaching practices. Do watch out for and enroll in GETI teachers training programs. Pre-service teachers training programs are being launched this month, and a variety of in-service training programs shall follow. For details, visit our website gettylearn.org or call 740-840-1000. So once again, thanking Dr. Sunita Gandhi for this excellent format where we meet people like Hina and interact with her and are able to expand in small ways our educational horizons. So thank you, Hina. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Good
Thank you.
evening. Yeah,
Good
and
evening
good
to
night.
all. Good evening. Good.
Thank you.